Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome into the Top 5, presented by our good friends at the esteemed Texas Beef House. Go to bidonbeef.com, use our promo code 365sports for a discount at checkout at the next auction. Believe me, you'll be thrilled that you did. The best Wagyu beef you can get at texasbeefhouse.com and bidonbeef.com. Let's talk about some Big 12 issues today that popped up over a really interesting weekend in the Big 12 where upsets happened, things didn't go the way we thought they would. Oklahoma State's run game. Look, I know their defense is an issue. Definitely an issue. But 11 carries for 42 yards. This is not the first time this year that Ollie Gordon, who's one of the best running backs in the country, has been contained. And again, I'm not trying to knock Alan Bowman, but if Ollie Gordon isn't rolling, neither is that offense most of the time. So if Oklahoma State wants to get back in this thing, Zero's got to get the ball, and Zero's got to be effective, because if not, this is going to be a long season for the Pokes, especially given their defensive issues. Number 4. Eventually. This is good TV, isn't it, folks? There we go. Kansas State's front lines. Usually a strength, but they've got some inexperience here on either side of the ball. Plus, after that 38-9 loss to BYU, where they were out-physicaled, which does not happen to Kansas State all that much, and they were out-gridded. Again, that doesn't happen to Chris Kleiman teams that much. I think this is not just a front lines issue, but maybe just an experience and maturity issue that will come. But my goodness, did BYU ever stomp them the other night, and they just never got going. And BYU was able to have the game go the way they wanted it to. They muddied the water a lot and had a big play on special teams, and everything kind of went their way. So the front lines need to get better. They need to get more physical. They need to start playing the real Kansas State style of football again, which I don't think is impossible, but maybe the youth on this team is going to show throughout the season more than I personally thought it would this year. Number 3, Baylor's ability to close. They had Colorado right where they needed him to be. Desperate, needing a miracle, and what happened? The studs for Colorado on defense and on offense shone out. Whether it's Shadur Sanders throwing an absolute dime into the end zone on the Hail Mary to LeJontay Wester to tie the game, or Travis Hunter knocking the ball out of Dominic Richardson's hands at the 1-yard line as Baylor was going in to tie the game in overtime. This is where Dave Aranda has to get better. This has happened to them a lot. TCU a couple years ago. Colorado. I can go on and on and on. West Virginia, a game that they had in complete control 2 years ago and then completely let the wheels fall off. They have got to learn to close. You've got a team dead to rights, then make them dead. Like, end it. They just don't. And this is a problem, and this is why the seat gets warmer on Dave Aranda, because of things like this. They played about as well as you could for most of the game against a team that's athletically a little bit more gifted than in Colorado, especially when you talk about Sanders and Hunter and Wester and Shepard and Horn. Those guys all better than most of the players that Baylor has. But Baylor, collectively as a team, played really, really well for most of it, but could not close it out. Number 2, TCU's defense. My God. Andy Avalos has a lot of work to do. And look, was brought in for a reason because Sonny Dykes needed that side of the ball to be better. But the last game and a half, the second half against UCF and the entire game against SMU, an unmitigated disaster for TCU's defense. And maybe Gus Malzahn and UCF broke TCU, but their defense, their confidence, a lot of things have to change in Fort Worth. Otherwise, it's going to be another really long year for them, because they've got to get out in front and stop people, because it was not good the last 6 quarters that they've played. And number 1 is any team capable of winning a playoff game. Yes, Stan Laurel, I'm as confused as you are. Now, Utah right now in the driver's seat. BYU's undefeated, but let's not get out of our skis, BYU fans. It's good right now, but the schedule is going to continue to be tough. But watching Oklahoma State this week, watching Kansas, who I thought could have been that team, fall out of this thing, and then watching Kansas State get absolutely drilled on the road by BYU makes me wonder, there's going to be a team in the playoff, probably just one in the Big 12, but are they capable? Do they have the athletes to win a playoff game? I just don't know. That is going to be really, really interesting come the end of the year. That's going to do it for us. I'm Paul Catalina. This is the Top 5, and this is the end of the show right after this.